spent countless hours in the garage with your dad. Now investing in that old car and working on it with your son reminds you of him. And his legacy lives on. Fund your passion with a low-interest home equity line of credit from Bank of Blue Valley.
Oh my goodness, is that Spider-Man?
Bet you weren't expecting that.
I absolutely wasn't, but I can always see a sneak peek before we start, so I get to prep myself. How are you? Look at your hoodie.
Yeah, Bank of Blue Valley, no big deal. I mean, I now just have it since we all work virtually. I have it's like Spider-Man. I can just dress right up in my outfit and have the Bank of Blue Valley show with the Bank of Blue Valley colors. And you're wearing some Bank of Blue Valley colors. Look at that.
Yeah, you like that?
Totally. I do. And then Aaron, also, you have you continually been eating the same the last 4 to 5 months? I mean, you can noticeably tell a big difference. So what's the secret?
No, it's just how I did my lighting today. I just put out a video today where I'm pretty much like this. So I appreciate it, but that is my goal. I was just going to start in February instead of January, all this hype around January. I'll just start in February. We were just talking before. I thought this was really funny. We were just talking before, and then I put this. I've got to move it anyway. So we were just talking about this on my desk right before. The phone jail. This is something that you're going to have to invest in. If you guys are anything like me, when you, this is not a sponsored ad, but when you get older with your kids, this is the best punishment that you can have when your children start not listening, is putting their phone where they can see it, but they can't get to it. That has been sitting on my desk for a few days now because I've got a kiddo that has to turn it in after school every day. How have you been? I feel like we haven't had just a regular show, Let's Chat, in a while.
Yeah, no, doing good. I had gout back in the day in my 20s for dietary, speaking of diet, and randomly I had so many medical things come up that I couldn't figure out that it was gout. So if you have gout and then you eat like red meat or shellfish, it makes it really bad. So I'm icing it with Spider-Man. So that's what I'm doing right now.
You always let us in on, there's no secrets. Everyone always tells me that I am an open book, but I think you're more of an open book than me. Hey, this is what we need to do. I can see a bunch of you guys watching. I need to know where you're watching from. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and who are you excited to see today? We actually have a show full of my friends. I'm pretty stoked about this.
Well, there's a gentleman that I do some happy hours with, and you know his wife. She's on the board, Casey Can, with us, and so we won't give it away. But you're the driver of the show, so I don't know how much small talk and what do we call it? Banter,
because that makes us sound European.
Yeah, it preps the panelists for the show, which is who everyone is here to see are the panelists. So it's kind of a way of getting.
I've got a surprise. My software upgraded itself, and now when I introduce people, I'm going to do it like this. You ready? It's got this cool music that I come from, and so. Are you ready? I'm going to introduce our guest. As I'm introducing our guest, jump on there and comment. Let us know who you're doing. I know. It's really next level these days. All right. Our first guest this week, straight from the KCK chamber. I'm super excited. I have not physically seen her since the pandemic started, but I am seeing her all over online. I'm excited that she's here today. It's Katie Vivas. Hi, Katie.
Hey, guys.
One of my very, very favorite people in the world, and my attorney, which means she keeps me out of a lot of trouble. Christy Hartman.
Hello.
I absolutely love our next guest. I have been actively avoiding her only because she is the best trainer in the world and I'm being self-destructive, but this is why I said in February I'm all in. Miss Jill Stoppel-Davis. I always call you Jill Davis, so I try to sneak that in there. And last but certainly not least, you already referenced him as your happy hour buddy, and he's my breakfast buddy because we went to breakfast together right before. I say last year, but it was December 20 or something. Gregg, hi Gregg. I make the music stop. Okay, you guys, you were my test subject. Did you like that?
We don't have to worry about people suing us for playing their music.
Yeah. I absolutely know that. Lori says, hi, she is here. She is watching on LinkedIn. Janae says, it's LinkedIn. And Denny says, watching/listening while on LinkedIn. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. We are so excited. We have such a great panel. Let's just jump into it. So, Katie, you're going to go first. Who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Wonderful. First of all, thanks for having me. Erin, you are really spectacular with introductions. That was pretty great. I loved it. And the music was awesome too. I'm Katie Vivas. I am the Director of Membership at the Kansas City, Kansas Chamber of Commerce. I have been here since April, and I am loving learning about this community, getting to know all of our different members. Kansas City as a whole, I have been here for just under 13 years. Originally from Southwest Missouri, just always enjoyed Kansas City. So I moved up here after college just for some personal reasons, and have loved it ever since. Like Scott had said earlier, it's a great, small, big town. There's always something new to learn and love. So I very much enjoy being here.
So Katie, how do we pronounce your last name? It's a beautiful last name.
Thank you. Vivas.
Vivas, yes.
Vivas Las Vegas is what I get a lot. So
you said it, and then he said something that sounded nothing like it, but good try, Scott.
You win some, you lose some. So in general, we talked about you moving here after college, but where's the career path in between that prepared you for this moment?
Great question. So through college, I worked part-time at the YMCA. It kind of doubled a little bit with my major. My major was in biomedical sciences and dietetics. I liked food, so I went to school for it, and I liked science. When I got involved with the Y down in Springfield, I loved the mission, the work that the Y does for families, for kids, for bringing people together. Just an overall fantastic mission. And so whenever I moved up to Kansas City, I was fortunate to get to start my additional professional career with the YMCA of Greater Kansas City in the membership component. And though that was different than what I went to school for, I very much enjoyed getting to talk to people, learn about who they were, what their goals were, and then how through the different avenues with the Y that I would be able to help them achieve their goals. So from there, I just really got into membership. There's a lot of challenges with it. There's a lot of rewards with it. I, took a career path from, bounced around just a little bit after some time being executive director with the YMCA to the Greater Kansas City Chamber of Commerce, which ultimately led me to the KCK Chamber, which I am thoroughly enjoying my time here. Daniel Silva is our president and CEO, and working, with him and under his leadership. And, this community is so fantastic to get to work in and meet. So I'm so grateful that my career path has, taken me from a love of food to membership to a community that has all kinds of great restaurants to eat at. So it gets to stay online with food.
So with the chamber, everyone thinks of the Kansas City, Missouri Chamber. And then I relate it to a little bit of like living north of the river. People want to do business with people north of the river. The KCK Chamber really kind of has a bond where people want to do business with people that are invested in the community. So what is that secret sauce? And then also, I would encourage people that are looking to broaden their horizons with such a community that's so close to actually contact you and then get involved. But why do you feel that people are so close and wanting to do business with each other due to the chamber?
That's a great question. I think, everyone has possibly heard about the DOT originals, those folks that were born and raised in Wyandotte County, and, their love of the county and their support of KCK has, transitioned into the entire business community. There's so much culture here. The amount of people that have moved into the county that have developed those relationships with those that are original and have formed that love. And so people, want to see KCK thrive. People want to see Wyandotte County grow and just become so much of the potential that it has. There's been, over time, there's been at times somewhat of a negative connotation that has come with this county. And it's so much more than that. And people, they're learning that, and it's growing, and they're seeing all of the great culture that's here and all of the wonderful businesses, the small businesses, the entrepreneurs. And when people see that love that the individuals have of Wyandotte County and of KCK, you can't help but want to support it. You can't help but want to go and talk with those business owners, develop those relationships, and continue to help this area of the metro grow and thrive. And so people just believe in what we're doing, and they believe in this community and the people that are in it and wanting to support it. And I think that just brings so much to this region. And as the chamber, we're so glad that we're able to help facilitate those connections and share the stories of the businesses and share the stories of those that, you know, have been here and that are moving in here and helped cultivate those relationships.
And there's quite a few businesses from what I'm seeing moving over to KCK, right? There's a lot of work being done over there.
Yeah, there's a lot of growth. This is a great spot to be. You know, we're revitalizing the downtown area, working really closely with the YDC to be able to support business growth and all of that. And then, you know, the growth that's happening on the west side out at Legends and the help that Sporting KC has had over in that area and people wanting to go to the games and shopping at Legends and people, you know, the amount of publicity that there is for shopping local and supporting local. And I think that is significant to the growth of this community and just the thriving nature of the businesses over here.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to encourage everybody to follow Katie because she's director of membership. So she's often putting together all the activities and the events. And so I even said the other day, I said, I'm getting a lot of FOMO. I'm going to start coming to your events because they look like they're pretty amazing. So
yeah, some wonderful events.
You're doing really, really good things. All right, Kristi, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Good afternoon. So I'm Christy Hartman. Thank you for having me on the show. So I ended up in Kansas City because I was born here. And I did leave for education and a few other fun things and ended up back here. I'm very close with my family and wanted to be around them. But I have Hartmann Law Office. I've had it since 2008, and it's been a lot of fun. I went to KU, and actually I got a bachelor's in dance and French. Not sure that there's a lot you can do with that other than dance or maybe French somewhere. I don't know. But I burned out. I went up to New York for a while and danced and burned out, finished my degree, and started clerking for my aunt's husband, who's an attorney. And I absolutely loved it. Went off to law school and came back to Kansas City. And I opened my practice pretty quickly. So that was really scary, but been one of the best things I've ever done. My practice areas are three-pronged and all very interrelated and centered around avoiding disputes. I'm not a confrontational person. I don't litigate. I don't go to court. I don't like to help people fight other people. It doesn't match my personality. So the three prongs are estate planning and probate, corporate work, and real estate transactions. And so, you know, I help people plan for death, and then I help people administer estates after death. So that's kind of the sad piece. But I'm corporate counsel for a lot of businesses here in town. I do everything from formation and structure analysis to partnership agreements, shareholder agreements, buy-sell agreements. I do a lot of acquisition work. So probably my favorite is to help business owners sell or to help entrepreneurial-minded people buy a business. So that's probably my favorite piece there. And then in the real estate world, it's strictly transactional. So commercial and residential real estate deals, people acquiring property or selling property. And I find that it's a good niche because all of those things intermingle. A lot of my business clients need to do estate planning, or they might, for the business, accumulate property or whatever, invest. So there's so many things that I can do with it. As far as, did you say you wanted us to talk about?
I want you to talk about whatever you want to, but I said,
Kristi, hold on. You were talking about.
Question.
Go ahead, Aaron. Aaron, I was talking over Kristi, not you. I'm scared.
Oh, I was just saying you can talk about whatever you want, but I know Scott already has questions because I see his little brain working.
Aaron, sorry about that. I was trying to be like, whoa, Kristi, I have a question for you. So you mentioned estate planning, but everything you did after that, I see as very confrontational, because when buying or selling a business or real estate, and heaven forbid they don't see you ahead of time and there's probate, I mean, there's a lot of balancing. And so do you want to talk a little bit about how you kind of help your clients be kind of part legal representative, fiduciary, but also part psychologist?
There's definitely a lot of psychology that goes into the job description. So I am just I have the type of personality that helps. Somehow I'm able to help people diffuse their situations. So if someone wants to go in with fisticuffs, I'm really, I'm really good at talking them off the ledge, because it costs a lot of money. If it doesn't work out, I refer them on to an attorney who does the litigation process. So I'm only on the front end. When things get ugly, I pass it on to attorneys who really enjoy that kind of dynamic. But certainly the estate planning piece is not as pretty as I had hoped, because family members, when they're grieving, get very strange, and can have a tendency to, all of the dregs that from when they're children, rise to the surface, and it can get ugly. But again, I do refer that stuff on. I discourage it first. If it doesn't work out, then I have, a network of attorneys that are really good at that side of things. As far as the business acquisitions, they are everyone is surprisingly happy to be at the table. A lot of my business owners, they are really proud of what they've developed in their business and their value and their goodwill, their reputation in the community. And they're now ready to move to their house in Florida. They're ready to retire. And so they find often a corporate refugee, maybe someone who wanted out of the corporate world. They've always wanted to own a business, who puts out feelers for what opportunities there are to buy. So the seller's happy to be there. The buyer is also happy to be there. And I just love those deals. I had one ugly deal where my client was buying assets out of a business that was in bankruptcy. And that buyer wasn't or seller wasn't happy to be there. It is what it is. But I try to keep it as peaceful as possible, and sometimes carry it on my shoulders on behalf of my clients. So if it's not.
No, Kristi, it's just wildly impressive. I mean, you're really handling some high stakes transactions, and I wasn't expecting that when we were talking about your practice and what you do. So I have so many more questions, but Erin drives the show, so she's going to tell me what to do.
No, you know what? I did a buyout one time with Kristi, and I was a little bit emotional, and she's just like, "Is it going to matter in 10 years?" And I was like, "You're right, it's not." Like, she's very emotionally sound. She's one of the most emotionally sound people. Which
wait, Kristi, but then Erin flips right away. She's like, "Yeah, you're right."
Yeah, she's known me for a long time, so she's seen all the signs. But awesome. Okay, Jill, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Hey guys, I'm Jill Stoppel-Davis. I help busy people who are struggling, juggling it all, figure out how to balance and fit in their fitness, their food, get their energy levels back, feel great, look good, all the fun stuff we want to do. But actually, I own Excel Wellness Studio. We're a private boutique personal training facility in Overland Park. And we love helping people that are intimidated by the big box gyms or are going there and not getting results, can't figure it out. We invite them into a more comfortable, fun, inspiring space and get them through, whatever their fitness goals or their health journey goals are. So I've been here, I've had my business almost 14 years in April, and we absolutely love what we do. But, and I wouldn't be any other place than Kansas. And how I got here, I was actually born and raised in Western Kansas, went to K-State, and then I couldn't wait to get out of college or out of Kansas. That was very short-lived. I did about 2 years in South Florida, and I missed, speaking of a big hometown, I missed Midwestern people. So Western Kansas was not where I was going to head back to, but Kansas City was about as close as I would go. So I pivoted back here. I wasn't fully in fitness at that time. It was kind of a side gig. And then I wound up here many years later. So I've been in fitness for a little over 20 years now.
What part of the city is your gym in for people looking?
I'm at College in Quivira in Overland Park. So I'm in South Johnson County.
Wow, that's an amazing location. And so also with that's one you could argue one of the best locations in Kansas City. I'm just backwards math. So you and Kristi are like, you know what? Let's start a business right when the recession starts.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
let's navigate the pandemic. So that's amazing. You've been in business for 14 years. What's the secret to your success and stability and persistence and perseverance?
Yeah, it's been my community and the people here. And that's what really was brought to light during the pandemic, is how strong our community is. I have some of the same clientele that I've trained for 20 some years. We have some of the same members that started with us when I opened the doors here. They just love the connection that you don't get in some of the other really big facilities. We know everyone's name. My team turnover is very low. So we see the same people coming in day out. We get to know them. We get to know their families.
Wow.
Pre-pandemic, we did a lot of cool, fun events, not related to fitness or kind of off-site. So we have huge connections here and a really great community that backs us.
I don't want to spend much time on this. I just know who all watches this show because I really want to focus on Jill. But your husband is one of the top networked people in Kansas City. So will you at least tell, because I can see who's watching this show. I look over here. Will you tell people who you're married to?
Yes, I have an amazing husband. You probably all know him. His name is Andre Davis.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So now I purposely didn't ask because focus on Jill, but I would not.
We're going to focus on Jill, but I
was not the person I am today without the Davis family. So Andre has mentored me in many different ways to be a better human being. And so, but again, I think he'd punch me if I said that because the focus is not on him.
But so Jill trains me when I'm in a better.
You live right down the street.
A lot of work for Jill to train me. Let's just say that. But she is so good because she'll text me even on my weeks that I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can make it. And she's like, I just want to know what you're doing. Like, she's very hands-on and makes you feel like, yeah, okay, get in there. And she's an amazing trainer, and it's a great location. So if you guys have not connected with Jill, connect with Jill because she's pretty awesome. And you guys pivoted really fast during the pandemic and were able to really help out a lot of people.
Yeah,
right?
we did. We are so blessed that even though we're in a service industry, Zoom we've been able to keep going, rocking and rolling. And I have some great business mentors, and we shifted to Zoom a week before. We worked super hard. We took equipment to all our clients and members. We had Zoom happy hours. We went above and beyond, and that's really what pushed us to really connect even harder during the pandemic, and it paid off. So I'm very happy that the doors are still open and we're thriving.
I love it. All right, Gregg, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Yeah, so thanks for having me. I'm Gregg Borr. I'm the president of O'Connor Company, and we're a 102-year-old distributor, a wholesale distributor of heating and cooling products. So we sell furnaces, air conditioners, light commercial and residential contractors. We are headquartered in Lenexa, Kansas. We have a distribution facility there as well as a distribution facility in Lee Summit. And we have 7 total distribution centers. We cover Iowa, Nebraska, Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma. Again, 102-year-old company. I am the 4th president in the history of the company. We had 3 generations of family ownership, and I'm the first one outside the family. I was actually recruited here to Kansas City about 11 years ago. I had done consulting work in the wholesale distribution space. I had met the 3rd generation family members that ran it, and they had brought me in to originally be a bridge between the 3rd and 4th generation. 4th generation decided they didn't want to be a part of it, so then we switched into to selling the business. We brought in some equity partners, and we went sold out to private equity. We have flipped 3 times now in the last 11 years, and we just completed another one with our current equity partners, Genstar Capital. 153 team members, again, covered 5 states. And that's what got me to Kansas City. What keeps me in Kansas City is I met one of my competitors at a industry event and ended up getting engaged and married to her. So I am engaged or married by competition now. And couldn't be happier. Love it here in Kansas City. Been here almost 11 years now.
I feel like there's one tiny piece. She actually runs the competitions company.
Yeah.
Like she's not just working there. She's also running and you're running.
Yeah, we run competing companies that we just don't ever talk about, which is great because there's lots of laws around that. You know, you make decisions all day, you get home, and then we look at each other like, okay, who's deciding what's for dinner and who's making it? And we have a great process. One of us cooks, one of us cleans, and it works well. I was joking about getting a little spinner to decide whether we're eating out or eating in, and then what we were going to eat. That way we wouldn't have to make that decision. We could just spin the wheel.
I think it's a G. I don't know why nobody's come up with like, I've seen like the fun ones, but like it should be like a kitchen thing, right?
Right.
I agree. We have a lot of kids and it's just all sorts of arguing no matter what you choose. Just leave it up to the wheel.
Oh man. Well, I feel like that's what spouses argue about is what you're going to eat. So Gregg, one thing that's really impressive with you and your better half is the way that your employee retention and the way that you lead others and the way that you treat people. Do you have any guiding philosophies personally about how you approach your associates, from the showroom floor to your CFO? You know, what is kind of you feel like your secret sauce to having such good retention?
Yeah, we were fortunate. I inherited, our team inherited a great corporate culture when I came here 11 years ago, and we've expanded on that. The big thing is everybody's a team member. We talk about the team. We don't talk about each other. We think about how we can support each other, how we can help each other, and everything we do. How's that going to impact our team and our team members and our both our supplier partners as well as our dealers? And if you think that way in everything you do, how does it impact the team? You build a great team, and people want to stay on the team. And we compete a little bit between the markets and the regions, and we have some fun with it. But we've had single-digit employee turnover for the last 11 years, and it's low single-digit, and its majority is folks retiring. So you build a team, you take care of the team, and you empower the team to do their jobs, and I think you can have great results.
Can you say one more time, just so you see my mouth wide open? How many employees do you have in single digits? Say how many you have again.
And we're expanding. There'll be over 160 here within the next month. We're growing.
That's pretty impressive. Single digit. You need to do a course or something on that. Chris Culbertson says power couple. Oscar says you guys. Chris, you're right. You're two of the best in the world. And Janae says congrats on 102 years. That's amazing.
Thank you.
I've always wanted to ask this question. No better time than live. How many bankers call you and Lauren in a given month to try to solicit your businesses?
So from our standpoint, it's, being owned by, we got 32 billion in assets behind us right now with Genstar. That pretty much stops the calls pretty quick. Because we flipped up 3 times now. We're part of a huge group. I would imagine Lauren being an e-stop, that probably helps stop them. But yeah, you get solicited every single day.
Right.
It's crazy. So just for the listeners out there, and then Kristi would have loved to have done the transaction for you. She was a big number. But when you have assets like Gregg and Lauren have, it's really easy to lend to, and it's really predictable. And Kansas City has over 130 banks and 4,000 or 5,000 independent commercial bankers. So I've always been like, man, I wonder how many people call you guys all the time. And then last question, as Aaron drives the show, I feel like your golf game and Lauren's golf game has gotten significantly better because you guys didn't play a lot and now you're playing a little bit more. Has that been good during the pandemic?
Well, one of these days I'm going to try to beat her consistently. But right now, my wife, who golfed all through high school and a little bit in college and worked at a golf course in college, is a much better golfer than I am. She told me when we got married, there's 2 things I had to do. One was learn to golf. The other one was learn to play the piano. I didn't come through on the piano thing. I have picked up the guitar a little bit during the pandemic. She said that suffices. She kind of created a golf monster. I'm getting close. I beat her once in a while now, but when we first started, they were good 20-stroke beatdowns.
Oh, I didn't know that about Lauren. If you've not met Lauren before, she's She's just one of those women when you walk in the room, you know she's there. Like, you know that she's someone you want to get to know. So I'm definitely never going to go golfing with her. So thank you for the heads up on that. All right. So let's talk about, we are finally in 2022. So we just started this show as a way to drink with our buddies right at the beginning of the pandemic. And we're almost, actually, my daughter's home sick today. And I was like, you gotta be quiet. Mommy's going to the show. She said, isn't it almost your anniversary? And I was like, good point. But so we have switched the second question finally. And here's what we're changing it to. What are you looking forward to the most in accomplishing in 2022? Katie, we'll start with you. Oh, Katie, I've got you on mute because we have feedback. My bad. Go ahead. Sorry.
Perfect. I didn't like how I started that answer anyway, so that was wonderful.
Good.
I just recently got accepted to grad school, so I am looking forward to starting that endeavor, and the timeline is to wrap it in a year. So looking forward to all of that in 2022. It is with Western Governors University, WGU, and in organizational leadership and management. So I'm really excited to start that.
Are you still going to be doing house stuff as well? Katie, if you follow Katie at all, she has almost completely transformed her house.
Yeah.
The past 2 years.
Yes, I will. There are still lots of projects to be done. I bought a 1926-year-old house 3 years ago and have been remodeling it slowly ever since. So,
are you in Strawberry Hill, or where are you at?
I am actually in Waldo. I would love to be in Strawberry Hill as I come to love it more and more as I'm here. But yes, I am in Waldo. I love my house. I just recently took a wall out one weekend, just kind of got bored. And I was like, I don't want this wall. So, yeah, I plan to do, I've got to put it back together now. So yeah.
So here's a question for the audience, and I'm predicting your answer is you're either a red dot person or you're not a red dot person, meaning you click the red dots to get rid of them so that you have a clear plate. So that's one question. The second question, and this is a compliment, I feel like I'm a box checker. I want to do things to say that I've done them and to have accomplished something. So are you a red dot, not a red dot? And are you a box checker?
I'm a box checker. I like to set a goal. I like to just, see what's out there and be like, done, check. I've vacationed.
Grad school, boom.
Yep, grad school, done. Just next. I very much enjoy being able to check as many boxes as possible.
What about the phone?
Give notifications, I think.
Do you check everything, or do you let the red dots accumulate?
Oh, no, there's so many notifications on there. I don't.
Well, I would have lost. I would have gone 50-50.
As a Virgo, I should be someone who clears things out regularly, but I don't.
And then the audience is probably wondering, what are you getting your master's or MBA or grad school in?
Yeah, Masters of Science in Organizational Management and Leadership.
Okay. Ooh, that'll be good for that's a good call with your industry. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, Kristi, what are you looking forward to the most in 2022?
So I'm actually, and this is going to be a process, and I'm a little anxious about it. And I believe my husband is listening and watching this. And so I'm going to give some kudos to him. But I'm finally getting into the modern world with my business. I'm implementing, it's a streamlining process for the timelines of my cases. And so, I embarrassingly have fillable PDFs for my intakes that I've been using forever. They kind of work, some of the fillable lines don't work all that well, and my clients are always complaining about it. And I apologize, but say that's what I have. But I'm this new system, and it requires some programming, which is way over my head, and it's something that my husband loves to do. So he's taking on a lot of this project, but it'll allow my clients to insert their information, in this software. It will, until they complete it, it ticks them in their email addresses or their accounts until they actually get the information to me, rather than me having to bug them all the time. So it's going to take a lot off of my plate. It's going to make my business a lot more streamlined and open up some time for me to do some other things that I've been wanting to do in the business. So I'm excited, but anxious. And yes, kudos to my husband.
So your husband's an attorney and a software developer?
Yeah, well, he's good at it. He doesn't necessarily have any formal education, but it's something he's always loved to do. And yeah, it's fun to watch him. He wears these cute little glasses and at the computer. And
Is
anyway.
there economies of scale to purchasing multiple licenses? I mean, I feel like with other sister or brother law firms that you work with, this may be something you would do together. Is that common, or is it every firm is unique in terms of how they put it together?
The software, I guess it's software that I've purchased. It's not software that's being developed, but you have to have somewhat of a programming ability, because once you purchase the software, you know how to develop it, and because you know your business better than anybody. And there's a lot of competing software companies, I'm sure, that do the same type of service for firms. But yeah, I'm finally in that club, and I'm very excited about it.
I'm excited for you.
One question about what is your favorite or most successful transaction that, obviously you don't want to name industry or people or the state that it was in, but just kind of give the audience an idea of a successful transaction where it was a big win for your firm.
Well, gosh, I really love all of them. And I've helped all industries. The thing I would want to share is the type of industry that has been the most fun, but I can't. But I've helped, professionals, like accounting professionals. I've assisted restaurants, retail, some really cool manufacturing stuff, things that I had no idea you could make generate the kind of revenues that I see my clients generate in just really unique areas. In fact, I'm almost inspired at some point to consider getting out of law and purchasing a really cool business myself that's not in law. But yeah, it's really awesome to do this kind of work.
Yeah, well, when you don't represent the other side, you can always make a bid on it. And
very true. Yeah.
Really cool. Yeah, it is inspiring to figure out all the different ways people make money.
It is.
One of the first times, I don't know if you remember this, Kristi, but one of the very first times I met you, it was still very early on, and I think you were still doing divorces at the time. And you told a story about somebody was filing for divorce. You were talking to us, and you said, and then their spouse called because they were going to file for divorce. And you had to figure out a way to say conflict of interest without them knowing that you would talk to their spouse. Do you remember that story?
I do, and I tried to block it out, Erin.
You were so good at it. I remember being so impressed that you were able to navigate that.
Oh man, I hated doing divorces. I did my last divorce in 2014, and that's when I was at a point where I could really start declining the stuff I didn't want to do. But yeah, I think it's common where you have a spouse who gets an idea that maybe the other spouse is talking to lawyers. So they start, searching, in this case, searching in cell phones and emails, and somehow my information came across their desk, and I got a warning that the spouse was going to, call all of these attorneys to try and get confirmation. And so it was really creepy. But that was a long time ago.
But I just remember being like, and she was just so chill about it. I was like, she could probably handle anything after handling divorces.
Yeah.
Awesome. Jill, what are you looking forward to the most in 2022?
I mean, life is good. I just want to keep layering on more of what we do here at Excel. We, definitely serving more people, helping more people feel good. Like Kristi, I'm kind of systemizing a lot of things in my business right now. COVID showed some flaws there. So we're taking a lot more things digital. We brought in some new apps. We have an app for our clients. We have all kinds of things that we can do workout wise, digitally and remotely now. So just working on those processes and keeping on.
So Jill, I'm sure it's almost like, since you have such a strong community, when you're meeting people, it's almost like you're interviewing them to be a part of your community. How does that process go? And like, how do people sign up and how do they become a part of it? But do you kind of sometimes know, like, you maybe not be a fit? Like,
Yeah,
how
and
did you figure that out?
that's kind of that's part of my first question in the process. I do have a marketing team that helps get our message out, but I always start with kind of a success session, usually a phone call. And it's the verbiage is we want to make sure we're a fit for you and you're a fit for us. And then we bring people in for a trial and just really make sure we can help them and that we're not going to waste their time and that they gel with our community. We do a lot of small group training, so that's really important, that they feel comfortable here.
Well, and then obviously you're always in sales. And so do you ever feel like, because you're always at about, do you ever feel like sometimes you maybe like don't want to go to the grocery store or don't want to go to an event because you have to talk to so many people? Or is that like something that gets you going?
No, well, actually, I'm the opposite of my husband. I'm very much an introvert unless it's talking about my love of fitness and sharing that with people and helping them feel better. So I feel it's more like sharing something that we really love here and helping inspire them. I never want to sell someone. Usually I want to help them. So we lead that way.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if we go to your husband and we pass him a microphone and we give him a 2-minute heads up and we're like, hey, this is the foundation. These are the people that are here. Here's the names you need to thank. Go. And 90 minutes later, you're like, man, what a great presentation.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm a little bit opposite.
He asked if it's kind of funny because both Jill and I, by the end of December, we're like, we're done with galas. We're done with going out. And I'm more extroverted, but I was like, I'm with you, Jill. We're both ready to just hang out in the house for a while.
Yeah, it's a lot. A little quiet time is nice.
Oh, one good thing. I feel like I converted to the dark side 7-8 years ago to be like, oh, how do we know each other? And I just say, good to see you. Because people would do that to me, and I'd be like, "Wait, no, we haven't met." And then but now I'm the bad guy. I feel like good to see you. Do you ever just go to people and be like, "Good to see you"? Because you have to, you know, and meet so many people. How do you handle that?
No, that's a good one. Nice to see you, or I just kind of roll with it. Because I forget all the time.
Former Mayor Sly James, a friend of the show through Aaron. He one time goes, oh, there he is, or there she is. And I'm not going to lie, that's probably the best I've ever heard of someone not knowing someone.
That's very good.
There she is. So make me feel special.
Yeah.
All right, Gregg, what are you looking forward to in 2022?
From a business standpoint, the supply chain improving. We had to allocate a tremendous amount of working capital just to cover open POs, build inventory. We are in the building inventory phase right now. The good news is the supply chain is improving, and our conversations have went from I can't believe how many things we don't have to I can't believe how much inventory we do have, and now we're looking around and leasing extra space and stuff and things in 53-foot trailers, and good problems to have compared to some of the problems we had last year. So it's good to see the supply chain improve. And we've still got a tremendous amount of open POs out there. If they all show up tomorrow, I don't know where we're going to put it, but that'd be a good problem to have as well. On a personal note, so I grew up in Michigan, and Lauren has worked with me tons of times, and we've looked around. I've got a lot of friends and family up there. We always stay in hotels. We finally pulled the trigger. We're buying a little lake house up there. So looking forward to spending more time with friends and family up in Michigan as our travel schedules allow. So looking forward to that. We actually close next Monday, so exciting times in our house.
What lake?
It's a little lake in southwest Michigan, so north of South Bend, Indiana, and west of Kalamazoo called Lake Shapin, and a little town called Bering Springs.
You're talking to a Grand Rapids boy right here.
What's that?
You're talking to a Grand Rapids boy right here.
Okay, so I grew up in the Ben Arbor St. Joe area.
Yeah, so one thing I thought was really unique for the audience, I am not very well traveled, but summers in Michigan and Wisconsin are so beautiful because you have that perfect weather. It just feels like you're in San Diego the whole time. And so that's interesting, Gregg. So you really feel like your world is going to be somewhat predictable going into to this year and next year? And how were you able to catch up on inventory? Because that's something I just don't hear a lot.
Yeah, so we watch the demand cycles very closely. We tuned into a lot of different sources of information on that. I think on the supply side, we're going to see another little hiccup. There have been some COVID-related issues at some of the ports over in China and impacting truck drivers. You have to have negative COVID tests to get into the ports there as a truck driver. So that with the Chinese New Year, I think we're going to see a hiccup around March, April. But outside of that, we've seen pretty good component flow in the major suppliers that we have, and they're manufacturing as fast as they can. Most of them are running 6 days a week, multiple shifts, and not having a tremendous issue right now getting labor. They've got open positions, but it's not like it was where you can only run 80-85% capacity. So we're seeing, capacities in the 90 percentile. We're also seeing investments. One of our major suppliers, Train, just added 200,000 square feet to their facility in Tyler, Texas, which increases capacity, and they've already got people hired. So we're looking forward to getting more inflow from them. And then the big thing from us is the demand cycle. So as you look at heating and cooling systems, especially on the residential side, the folks that are knocking down walls and redoing their houses, we love them because eventually they're going to buy an HVAC system as well. But we had a lot of people working from home that may have put off that HVAC system replacement. So we saw a lot of demand get pulled forward. On average, the system lasts about 15 years. So you might get 20 if you maintain it well. You only get 12 if it was undersized. Somewhere around a 15-year time frame. And then so every year, X percent gets pulled out. We're seeing percentage gets pulled forward. So definitely last year was a high demand cycle. We've seen demand come through even with kind of a mild winter. We're still seeing high demand. We're also seeing a lot of residential new construction activity. At some point, and our best guess right now is 2023, we're going to see that demand cycle slow down a bit, which will hurt the trades, all the trades, hurt the distributors like us. So our message to a lot of our contractors right now is save your money. There's going to be a downward cycle, but invest in marketing, invest in all things right now, but prepare yourself for the downturn. One thing that impacts the trades, especially right now, is the trades are still looking for labor. If you know any young men or women that are looking for a great opportunity, you can go out and make $60,000, $80,000 a year very early in your career with no college debt getting into the trades. There's lots of paid apprenticeships. It's a great space to be in.
Aaron, how much money did you make in your first job out of college?
I was a bartender, so I don't think it's like.
So was I, but you know what I mean. Your first year, I couldn't get a bartending gig. I was a waiter.
My first real job, I made like $11 an hour. My first real job.
Yeah, I mean, 2010, it was like if you made above 35,000, and I just really, really hope that the millennials and Gen Z are tougher on education than maybe some baby boomer Gen X's were, because $68K, no college debt, to be in such a great community like Gregg's that will mentor you and take care of you. I just think it's something we don't pound away enough for those because I'm dyslexic, so I totally would have taken a different career path because school is horrible. I just wish more people did that.
Christy's brother had his own company for a long time in the trades, and then eventually one of the big engineering firms picked him up just because it was totally based on skill, right? So there's a lot of places you can go to if you wanted to get into corporate America. But I watched that just happened the past couple of years. And so,
Kristi, did you have your brother? Did you negotiate and like who hosts Thanksgiving instead of like the full transaction fee? How did that go?
Fortunately, my mom is still very territorial. So if we even suggest that we not have it at her house, she would be very offended. So, and she has to do the turkey. I've insisted on doing it a couple of years, but I've given up because my dad also wanted to do a turkey that year, and so he was getting upset because it just got really competitive for him. So we just.
And then, Katie, I noticed you had a smile on your face when Gregg was talking about replacing things. Have you had to replace a lot of things with your home? And what has taken a long time to get in?
I replaced my windows back early in 2020 during the pandemic. Being at home, I was like, oh, these windows are so drafty. But I think that was really before everybody got on board with wanting to do home improvements and stuff. So I really didn't have to wait, just kind of the standard, I think it was like 4 weeks or so. But otherwise, no, I haven't had to replace a lot. HVAC is on the list coming up soon, as I'm going to need to do that. So I may need to get in touch with you, Gregg.
Sure.
Sorry, Aaron. I saw everyone's face. And I was like, I got to ask that question.
Scott, do you know I used to sell windows?
What?
It was the least favorite
No,
job
I don't think I did.
Kristi knew me when I was selling windows. I absolutely hated it. Yeah. It was terrible.
You've done it. I mean, it just shows to your toughness and determination. And I mean, it's like when you were selling apartments, right? As well.
First, but the windows thing was weird because I sold them on the retail side. And you know what I learned? The biggest thing is never to judge a book by its cover. And by that, I mean those big houses you drive by in those fancy neighborhoods. Some of them were so terrible on the inside. And then you'd go to the tiniest little house and it'd be so cute on the inside. Right. And so you never know how people live until you have to sell windows and go inside their house. I think you probably have seen that, maybe Gregg, before. Once you go in people's houses, it's a whole different story.
Yeah, I grew up the son of an electrician, and I would do a lot of side job. I helped my dad as he did side job as a kid. And you go in, like you said, you go in some mansions, you expect it to be just beautiful, and it's just disarray and stuff falling apart. Next time you go to somebody's small house, it's the pride and joy they put everything into, and it's just immaculate. Yeah, it's all over the board.
Yeah.
So, Aaron, can I ask Kristi a question real quick?
Yes, you can.
Before we do, so Kristi, one thing that a lot of people don't realize is being an entrepreneur and growing their business. The worst thing potentially for their business is divorce, and understanding that financial metric of that process. And it's just something that a lot of people don't think of. You mentioned that you did divorces as well, and the reason why I thought of that is when I think of windows, I will sometimes get calls from people and be like, hey, so-and-so is, driving X, or so-and-so is selling this. And I see that they are C-level executive over here. And then you're like, well, they got divorced. And so when you're advising your clients on the M&A side, does divorce ever come into the picture about, are you going to get divorced, or could there be a divorce?
Yeah, it's important, particularly when you're helping clients negotiate buy-sell provisions, because you have also, you don't want it set up so that a spouse has an ex-spouse has the potential of being awarded your co-owners, ownership interests in a divorce. So I help with them with the discussions of the triggering moments that might trigger that buyout, and then the divorce is certainly one of them. And so in the event that an ex-spouse is awarded those ownership interests, then the company can redeem them, or the other owners can purchase those interests. So that's definitely important.
Yeah, I do some M&A work as well on the insurance side. And we always encourage people when they have success, the number one thing they can do is invest in their marriage. That's a good thing, just in general. That's the most important person in your life, but also it's important for a variety of different reasons. But sometimes people just don't realize that, and you can make a lot of money, and if you're not taking care of your spouse, that's not a good thing.
Lose a lot of money too.
And I also, this might make me unpopular, but prenuptial agreements, I can't encourage them enough. Especially when you're a business owner, it's because you have co-owners in the business. You want to protect that asset.
I will affirm that she does that, because when I got married for that a little bit of time, I was married. She literally wrote up the prenup and was like, sign it. And I did not listen. And it was very hard to get out without anything, because I did not listen. And the whole time I heard in the back of my mind,
I didn't know that.
Kristi saw this coming. Kristi saw this coming. And I ended up getting out. It was fine and it was cordial. But had he not been as cordial as he was, Kristi could have used me as a case study. And she not. But she writes up great prenups. So definitely get with her. And didn't you say whenever you're helping prenups with two attorneys, that's when it gets real fun?
You mean when two attorneys are on each side?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't usually have any issues. The couple usually is pretty good. They're still in this honeymoon stage, so they negotiate with themselves pretty well.
That would be interesting. Okay, well, we are no longer doing the icebreakers because I hated them, so I switched.
Oh, the Thanksgiving comment was coming.
Thanksgiving. It's
Christy was talking
January.
about. I always throw out the icebreaker of what do you cook on Thanksgiving, but
Oh,
we're past
we're
that
not
season.
doing ice. But I don't know if anybody saw a football game on Sunday, but there was a little football game here that feeds perfectly into our question today. So if you get this right, which I know a lot of you, so I don't. First of all, Katie hates the Chiefs. Do you want to tell them who you like? Hate's probably a strong word, but do you want to tell them who you're a fan of?
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't hate the Chiefs. I will support them from a distance, but I am a proud San Francisco 49ers fan.
That's all right. It's better than a Broncos fan.
Right.
That is accurate. Yeah.
That is accurate. So I don't know if you're going to get this. I don't know if anybody's going to get this just because I know the crew. Greg, you might get it. I don't know you that well.
I think not profiling.
So not profiling you. I just don't know about your football love. I do want to say, well, Bill showed up late, but he is here. But over here in the comments, if you know the answer, guess it and let us know. In 1997, at age 37, whoa, that's so old. What Chiefs running back became the oldest player in the NFL history to score 10 or more touchdowns in a single season?
I would have to say Marcus Allen.
Greg, do you have you're supposed to let the guess.
I have a guess.
Yes, go for it.
I'm a Detroit Lions fan. I don't even know what the playoffs are, yet alone what records are. I would throw out like maybe Christian Okoye. I don't know. I'm just thinking of old Chiefs running backs.
What was yours, Katie?
I'm Tony Gonzalez, but I don't actually even know what his exact position was.
He was cute.
Very attractive man.
Kristi, I feel like you watch a lot of football.
I did. I was thinking Marcus Allen or maybe Priest Holmes.
Guess is Marcus Allen and Priest Holmes. How about you, Jill?
I have no idea. I didn't live in Kansas City in 97. You got me.
All right. Well, Scott, you are disqualified because you are the host of the show. So, Kristi, you win. In 1997, at age 37, Marcus Allen made NFL history to score 10 or more touchdowns in a single season. So you guys can take that to your football party. There's a football party on Sunday, right? Somewhere, and use that history. We want to thank every single one of you guys for coming on the show today. Please go and connect with all of our guests. They are all tagged right here on LinkedIn. Hey, Jill, do you know that it still just has your one last name? You should change it to your two last names if people are looking for you. Go connect with all of our guests. Support them. Thank them for all of their knowledge. Thank you so much for Bank of Blue Valley for allowing us to do the show. Scott, it was good hanging out with you. We will see you same time. I'm going to try to play playout music because we got this, but it might be weird. So thanks for letting me do this. We're going to see you same time, same week, same time, same place next week. We'll see you later. Bye, guys.